Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to my first video. This your boy Nesfa, and I'm gonna be going over the OSI model and what it encompasses and its different use cases. So, first and foremost, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Nesfa. I am a field network technician, and I am on a journey of sharing my journey into the IT world as I continue to grow, and I'll be sharing different networking concepts, different use cases. I'll be sharing different projects that I'm working on, and I'm just excited to be on this journey. And I'm looking to connect with other people in the IT field um, that would like to join my channel, share input, share insight as I continue to share information, share my journey. This first video that I'm doing right now, we're going to be talking about the OSI model. So basically, the OSI model, it is the application layer, the presentation layer, the session layer, the transport layer, the network layer, the data link layer, and the physical layer. And we're going to be starting with the application layer. So with the application layer is basically like the different apps that you use on your phone on a day-to-day basis. Pretty popular apps. It's like TikTok, your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, things like that. And the application layer, it basically is a layer that helps users interact with it directly. It provides network services to different applicants. Different examples like your DNS requests, messaging apps, email, and web browsers. So the real world use cases, like I was saying earlier, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So when somebody open up different applications on their phone, the application layer helps the app to communicate over the network. Now we're gonna go into the presentation layer. So basically the presentation layer, it basically helps data be formatted so it's understandable. So it handles encryption, compression, formatting. So a real world use case of the presentation layer is HTTPS. So websites, they encrypt your data before transmission. So basically the websites will basically hide your data so it's not exposed to the world so everybody can see your information. You know, the layer makes the data readable and it's also secure. So HTTPS will basically encrypt it so that it's not exposed to everyone, and it also makes it readable and secure. Otherwise, you would just be seeing ones and zeros. Next, we're going to go to the session layer. So what the session layer does, it creates, manages, and ends communication sessions between devices. So example of that would be like logging into a website, video call sessions, authentication sessions, and a real world use case would be a Zoom or Teams meeting. So this layer keeps conversations between devices organized. Now we're going to go into the transport layer. The transport layer, it ensures that the data is reliable of delivery. So the main protocols within the transport layer will be like your TCP and UDP. The TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, and UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. I'm going to get more into that in later videos. But basically, the real world use cases will be that TCP ensures that a file download completely without missing data, and then UDP is used for fast traffic like gaming or streaming. So basically, your transport layer, let's just think of the transport layer like a crossing guard. You know, when you see a crossing guard on the street, the crossing guard is going to make sure that the movement is 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 when you see a crossing guard on the street, the crossing guard is going to make sure that the traffic is flowing smoothly. So sometimes you might see a crossing guard, excuse me, you might see a crossing guard and they're waving their hand fast because they want the cars to go by quickly, or they might just be simply giving the cars the right of way and telling them to move in this direction, or they might have a sign that says move slowly. So that's the most basic way I can explain this in layman's terms so that uh, you can understand the transport layer. The transport layer basically handles the transportation of the network. Next, we're going to talk about the network layer, which is a layer 3. The network layer handles your addressing and your routing. This is where the IP addresses operate. So it deals with routers, protocols such as IP, ICMP, and real world use cases will be that routers determine the best path for data across the internet. So this layer basically decides the best path or where the data should go. Next, we're going to go into the data link layer. So what this does is handles communication between devices on the same local network, uses MAC addresses, and devices such as switches. Different examples would be Ethernet and MAC addressing. Real world use cases would be a switch sends a data to the correct computer inside a local office network. Basically, this layer moves data between nearby devices. So when you're working with like switches and things like that, switches basically forward traffic between nearby devices. Unlike routers, which can route to different devices across different networks. And layer 1 is the physical layer, which I have a lot of experience in myself dealing with telecommunications. So basically, this layer handles the actual physical transmission of data. So when you're looking at cables, electrical signals, connectors, when you look outside and you see cables on a pole, your fiber optic, your coax, that is the physical layer. When a technician comes into your home to hook up the Wi-Fi with a cable box and things like that, he's most likely dealing with the physical layer. So you're dealing with cables, hubs, repeaters, extenders, different things of that nature. A real world use case would be Ethernet cables carrying the bits between the devices. This layer physically sends the signals on your devices that we use every day. So I want to thank y'all for taking time to watch this video as we go through the OSI model, the application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, and the physical layer. Stay tuned for more videos as I go through different networking concepts, and make sure to stay in tune for the next one. Peace.